Why, hello once again, everyone. My name is Filibuster Fox. You remember me casting with Azaraki Dragon in the Strife Championship Series. This is the first qualifier weekend. It's a double elimination tournament brought to you by Surreal Productions and GameVox. Voice done right. We'll be moving into the semifinals now, which will be a best of three. The first game will be Surreal Gaming versus Senpai Please Notice Me. And we will be changing out the casters. I'll pass it to Azaraki to introduce the new cast.
Yep, for the first half, you guys heard Filibuster Fox and me, Azaraki Dragon, but now we will be switching it over to The Source and Lake. You guys are familiar with them. Take it away, guys.
How's it going, Lake? Have you been watching most of the matches?
I have, and so far it's been really interesting. I've seen some different lane compositions, maybe not the same kind of setups that we would see in the general meta, but as far as like the top teams coming out to perform, has been nothing less than spectacular. So I'm excited to see SG versus PLS. They are known as two of the powerhouse teams from the North America region, and we're gonna get into the pick ban phase here right now.
Yep, we should be in the picks and bans, and we've already got the bans through Claudessa being banned out for Surreal Gaming, and Senpai Please Notice Me banning out Vex, and we've already got a bunch of the picks already going through.
Yeah, so as far as the Claudessa ban, a lot of teams consider Claudessa as being one of the top bans. So you'll see it's not uncommon for the first pick to ban out a tank, one of which being a tank that they don't necessarily want to play. So they would rather PLS get the bow pick instead of a Claude pick. Obviously, that's why they banned it out, but they wanted to pick up that Bastion over the bow. SG does have a Bastion player, OJC. He's a pretty good Bastion, but PLS also has a really good bow player. So the comfort picks from both teams are coming out. You do see the Harrower from SG. Tom Pass definitely likes to play Harrower in that bot lane. Lady Tinder, a very common pick for an SG lineup. And then on the other side, you have with PLS, you have the Ray, the Bow, the Verm, and the Featherstone. All very common picks. Featherstone is most likely going to go bottom against the Harrower. Featherstone has a more favorable matchup early to, I would say, early mid-game between the Harrower. Once that Harrower starts to build a couple items like a Golden Protector or a Crushing Mace, he tends to do fairly well versus the Featherstone and scales well. But the Vermilion Bow and Ray are very common picks for PLS, very comfort. Satanaka plays a really good Verm. Ray by Kiwi Dude or Kiwi Kid, they change their names so often and they're really hard to pronounce. They're Japanese and I'm not very confident in pronouncing them. So I'm going to try my best. I did have their manager Melancholy try to explain the pronunciation of a lot of their names, so hopefully I can do that the right way. But I think SG rounded off their comp with a Rook and a Malady pickup. The Malady and Rook is something that SG has been practicing. The Malady syncs very well with the Bastion, and the Rook is a very common top laner now. He's very versatile, so you can play him as that 80 role in the top lane, in the mid lane, or the bot lane. He's just a very versatile pick. He has a lot of burst potential and a lot of utility with his escapes and survivability. So assuming that they're going to go a Lady Tender Rook in that top lane with the Bastion Malady mid and Harrower bottom, and then you're probably going to see maybe a Bow Verm, Ray, and Ace. They do play a little Ace, maybe some Hail. They could pull out the Shank. There it is, the Shank pick. And they actually have a very versatile lineup, and I don't know where PLS is going to put everybody.
Yeah, PLS's composition has a lot of team fight potential, but once they picked up that Shank, they gained a huge, the pick ability by having Shank's hook that allows them to pick single targets. Other than that, I guess they can make single target rotation plays with Ray. Bow is more for a little bit more for team fighting, whereas SG's composition, Malady can pick a target, Rook can pick a target, Tinder can pick a target. So that's essentially a pick composition, and they're going to be looking for mid game rotations and catching people out in the jungle.
Yeah, so the Tinder actually provides a lot of utility as far as team comps go. She's a very good at sieging towers. So with the Tinder pick all by itself, it's a good objective control pick. Not to mention it offers a lot of utility. The shield plus attack speed on the E, plus you have the bind and the heal and the plant with the ultimate. It's all huge utility skills that are very versatile within a comp, which is why you see it picked up very often by SG because they try to control objectives. PLS, they like to play um, the one in the bot lane consistently pushing and 4 people roaming around the map trying to make plays. And that's with the Ray, Bo, Shank, and Verm. That's a very good lineup for trying to do a 4-1 style lane meta.
All right, so the picks are through. We should see them getting into match momentarily. I'm going to see if there's been a delay for any reason. So looking at these compositions, this is we are into the semifinals here. This is our first best of 3, I believe. Should double check the bracket myself. Yes, so this is one of the semifinals. So whoever wins this best of 3 is into the league. So with the best of 3 in mind, who do you think is going to take this first match?
So as far as both teams go, they have the ability to take a game off of each other. I think with the best of 3, the edge goes towards SG because they tend to be able to pick and counter pick a little better depending on how well someone's doing on a specific hero. PLS, if it were a single limb match, PLS is very good at the shock and awe type picks. They are very unpredictable sometimes in a lot of their metas and picks and rotations. So as far as PLS being a single limb type team, they are very strong at it, and they would have the potential if it was a single limb to knock SG out into the losers bracket. But out of a best of 3, I'm going to have to give a slight edge towards Serial Gaming.
All right, well, we're about 40 seconds out of spectator delay. Before we get into this match, obviously we want to thank our sponsors, GameVox. GameVox is another voice program similar to Skype and Mumble and TeamSpeak. It has a lot of awesome features. You can put a lot of rooms in there, separate out all of the chats, and it's a considerably consistent program. And looks like we're getting into game right about now.
Yeah, I'm still loading in, but just overall, the team comp wise, so SG, like I said, they do have the control comp. They have a lot of pick potential. The Malady, the Rook, the Harrower, the Tinder, even the Bastion. They all have the potential to get picks in 100 to 0. A lot of the heroes besides Tinder. And then you have on the other side a very good split type composition. You have very good roam potential with the Ray, the Shank, the Bow, and the Verm. And then you have that Fetter that's going to essentially kind of sit in that bot lane and keep that Harrower honest and make sure that he isn't able to try to join the fights. He's going to try to keep that pressure down there to where that Harrower, even though he may be getting farmed and he's going to be that late game terror, he's going to have to deal with that Fetterstone consistently pushing in that bot lane. So I'm interested to see how SG deals with that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who's going to have better team fight potential because Tinder are kind of monsters in team fights. But we did see in the previous match, I believe it was the Kaizen match, Papa Please was able to turn things with the huge team fight potential that Fetterstone has. So do you think that Fetterstone for PP Root is going to make a serious difference towards the late game?
Absolutely. So the Fetterstone is one of those heroes that you don't want to get farmed. And if the Bow is able to land just in a perfect world, the Bow is able to land this awesome ultimate, get a huge stun and a wall stun with his Bull Rush, that Fetterstone is going to chew through a team all by himself. So that's one of the key focuses that they're going to have to deal is that Malady is going to essentially try to either get 100 to 0 pick on that Verm or that Fetterstone before they all in engage because they do not want to deal with the ultimate from Verm and the range from Verm, not to mention the huge splash damage from Fetterstone and his ultimate.
How do you feel about the double AD composition? It's far more common in Strife than it is in many other MOBAs. it gives you great late game potential, but you lack tankiness. And I guess Featherstone can build tanky, but is that going to be his focus? Or going to see the tank Feather, which I've seen a couple of times?
I think it's going to be a hybrid build. I don't think he's going to go full tank Fetter because I don't think that's the most efficient way to build Featherstone. But they do build a lot of tanky items on him, especially against Harrower in that bot lane. That double regen more than likely is going to go into a dampening cloak to kind of deal with the wolf harass. I'm interested to see what Featherstone builds initially out of those double regions. Like I said, I'm assuming it's going to be a damp cloak, but going into the match, he's probably going to build something tanky and then work up with damage from there.
All right, so we see the gold is constantly shifting back and forth because no one really has control. Why does the game do that at the very beginning, the whole little wobbly gold thing?
It's kind of uneven. Like there's not enough data, I think, is what's happening with the UI there.
Interesting. All right, well, we have a little bit of engagement down the bottom. Like PP doing a ton of damage to Tompas. He'll have to back up, and there's pretty good aggression out of an early game Featherstone. I don't think, did Ray run down there and lay down any of those traps to give, or those mines to give him the early level 2? I think he might have.
I don't think so. I think Ray actually went in the mid lane. And then, actually, speaking of the mid lane.
Yeah, huge engagement. It's going to be a lot of damage onto Senja. He's going to take a ton of damage there from the Bastion Malady combination. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, we did see Alondra going pretty low, but he was able to deal back a ton of damage to Zeevil. And again, another engagement in the mid. SMD going forward, lands a tornado and a good bit of damage. The stun comes down from Najaro. He's going to have to be forced to back up, and that's going to be a little bit of a disengage. SMD and Nade Chico taking a ton of damage there. They're both going to have to be careful about their next few engagements, as the tanks there do a pretty good job of blocking them down. We've seen a lot of Bastions do a ton of damage to carries and survive a lot of the fights and wind up with the kills.
Yeah, with the Bastion Malady lane in general, it has so much CC. If he's able to land the line stun followed up by the Malady Q, the Whirlwind, it's so much lockdown and initial damage early levels that it's completely okay to go in on those tanky heroes.
So down the bottom lane, we see PP doing a good job of harassing down the Harrower. Tompas has been having a lot of trouble. I don't think his gold has suffered too much. Seems to be doing okay in terms of GPM, but he is being harassed a significant amount.
Yeah, he's not exactly going to win that bot lane matchup, especially early game. He's just kind of there to survive. And then in the mid lane, they're just kind of exchanging back and forth with their blows. The mines, the burrow bots coming out from Ray, just trying to do some damage. But this bot lane matchup is going to be very good to watch going into the mid game. Early game, it's just going to be Featherstone kind of controlling the pace.
Yep, so SMD going to be able to continue to farm. OJC, he needs to be careful about how far he steps forward. He's been taking a lot of damage. Actually, a nice stun down on SMD. And Nade Chico, God, these names are so freaking long for Senpai, please. Nade Chico doing good damage there. It's going to be the aggression forward by Senjo. He's going to be able to force SMD to dash away, so they'll be able to continue to aggress for a little bit longer. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, SG has been keeping them pretty much under this tower. Sadako and Alejandro have been essentially forced to stay under tower for the last 5 minutes or so, or 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's just that control of the Tinder in the top lane. Early levels, Tinder controls that lane very well. She has the ability to kind of bindweed the all-in engage from the bow. So it's a very good counter as far as being able to control the lane. Plus he has the heal and the shield. And then you see Ray kind of going in that bot lane looking for a gank on Harrower.
Yep, rotation out of Nachiko. He's not going to be able to come in with the stun like he was planning. He did have his rocket boots and could have dashed in, but the angle must not have been right. Now they're doing a good amount of damage to the tower. Hibiru has popped his ultimate just to lay in a ton of damage onto this tower. It's about a little above at half health. Now SMD rotating in. I think they know what's going on. Nechiko is going to avoid that play, and SMD is going to be forced to run back to lane. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, it's just going to be the tanks farming for a while. So, no engagement, at least until the mid laners get back there.
Yeah, both teams are very good at trying to do rotations. Senpai Please is very good as far as trying to rotate a lot of their carries to get some kills out there. And SG, oh, and then in the mid lane, speaking of
Dash
the
forward
rotation.
by SMD. He's going to get down the double stun. But the ultimate out of Senjo was able to pull OGC under the tower. He wound up being unable to continue the aggressive play. Now Nechiko will be able to pop a potion. SMD is doing a good bit of damage to Senjo. They are going to get the knock up onto him. OJC doesn't have the mana to re-engage. He's going to get stunned out. But that would be the disengage, as both of these teams playing very, very conservatively. Neither one making highly aggressive plays.
Yeah, so the playmakers on the team really are OJC and S&D. Xevil's a very consistent AD carry in that top lane, and SG, they use OJC and SMD to actually do a lot of their roaming. And I think that's what they're trying to do, is kind of set up the roams, and PLS is trying to counter that with their own counter roams to try to really harass this bot lane, while Ray actually is going down there to put some advantage in that bot lane for Fetterstone.
Ooh, huge hook in the middle lane by Senjo. He's going to lock down SMD. SMD should be able to walk away from this, assuming Nachiko doesn't show up. He's rotating back in. He should have his Rocket Boots plus stun combination, and he's going to wait. Now they're going to go on to OJC. Does a little bit of damage. OJC is going to be able to dash away on that Bastion, and he won't get locked down. That's going to be a good play there. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, top is very, very low. He must have been dueling with PP Root. PP Root was able to pretty much take away all of his power with that Fetterstone power drain. Pops a potion, is going to be back up to full health, so continued aggression from Papa Police down the bottom lane. Meanwhile, up in top lane, Zevil picks up a kill. That was really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So they realized their power potential with that Ray ultimate. And then bot lane,
Yep,
they were going in for that kill, but Tom Pass was able to Q away and get out of the range of the damage there. But what they're trying to do is they're really trying to fast push this bot tower, because they know that their top lane has the all-in advantage with the Rook. Rook has the huge burst potential with his ultimate. As soon as he lands a stun followed up by a Bindweed from Tinder, that's almost a dead hero. And it really relies on a very good bow ultimate with the Bull Rush to kind of disengage and counter-engage that all-in potential from the top lane. So they're trying to take advantage of that by sending that Ray consistently in that bot lane to get their Fetterstone in a very strong point early within the game. And as you can see it, he's not doing too bad in farm, but neither is Tom Pass.
Yep, and we're going to have a momentary pause. Hopefully it won't be a long one. We've seen a couple of pauses during the tournament. There were some connection issues earlier. We wound up having the tournament delayed for a little bit of time, but we are back, and hopefully the players are able to get back in soon. With all of these rotations, do you think so? Senpai Please Notice Me have been aggressing down into bottom lane to try and fast push that tower and get their Fetterstone, roaming around the rest of the map. Are they going to be able to do that? Because SMD seems to be perfectly willing to roam down there to help out.
Yeah, so SMD is essentially trying to stall that top or that bot lane push as much as possible. I think they're okay with losing the tower per se, because if you take a look in the top lane, they have almost, not exactly the same, but they have very good damage on that top tower, not to mention that they also have the Tinder plant, which is going to be able to do a lot of tower damage and allow them to siege that tower. And SMD's just kind of looking for kills right now to push an advantage in lane, while Senpai Please is within the strat of they really want to punish that Harrower and get them down. The only downside is that Harrower is actually staying even in farm with the Fetterstone. So you really have to be careful with fast pushing and losing farm.
He is about to lose this tower, though. Fetterstone has popped his ultimate again. PP has had no issue using that to bring down this tower. They are going to pick that up. Goal lead in the favor of Senpai Please Notice Me. And meanwhile, up in the top lane, a little bit of aggression. Bone taking some damage. Zevil looks like he wanted to step forward and use that ultimate. It is back up. And taking a look at the gold advantage here in the top lane, it looks like quick GPM Rook 474 in comparison to the Verm 425, so a clear advantage there in the favor of SG.
Yeah, but I mean, if you take a look at it as well, they do have the Shank on Senpai Please. Senjo doing a great job getting that solo farm. He's the highest farm hero on their team, which is going to be great because he's essentially going to be that bruiser kind of going into the lane and being that really strong force to be reckoned with. He wants to get tanky quick. He wants a decent amount of some sort of power tank items, but he's essentially there to get big and affect the game early, which he's doing in that bot lane.
Big rotation in by Cinder. He's going to go forward onto Thomas. Thomas going to dash away. The hook is up. He's actually going to miss it. Tries to dash backwards. It's going to be a nice cleanse out from Thomas. That pincer doing work for him. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, they pick up a kill onto the Ray. These guys are doing a really good job of seeing the advantage and rotating for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was actually a big counterplay. They seen that Senpai Please was going down to try to get Tom Pass out of that bot lane and kind of essentially if they would have got the kill, they would have taken that tower or close to taking that tower. Maybe with one other push, they could have been able to get it. But SG seen the rotation bot lane and essentially went all in on Ray, knowing that that Ray wasn't going to be able to withstand the burst from SMD on Malady and the Bastion stun on OJC. So really good rotation, but really good rotation and try from Shinjo on Senpai Please.
Yeah, he saw the advantage. It was definitely a good play to make. Zero Gaming was able to pick up that kill, and that's the power of Malady and her all-in potential. Like you were saying at the beginning of the game, that's really what she's going to look to do. That's going to be her main focus as all-in targets. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Zeevil goes way too far forward, is going to be able to hide and seek away. The Tinder plane comes down. Alejandro does get off a lot of the stun, and Verm is going to be able to come in. That's going to be the kill going over to Sakanako, but that's going to be the turn kill up by Bone. He's going to pick that up with the Tinder plant. OJC comes in, and he's going to be able to help bring down the bow, so it's going to wind up being a 2-for-1 so far. Good rotation in there by OJC, and the Ray, he goes in with the dash stun, and Senjo coming in from the backside picks up the kill onto Bone.
Yeah, overall, just the amount of rotation and fight was from both teams was perfect. Both teams kind of overstayed their welcome as far as the initial engagement
down in the
went.
bottom lane.
That all-in, that Malady all-in. S&D is really sneaky with that. That all-in 100-0 Malady plus Tom Pass with this Q proc. It's that Featherstone needs to be a little careful when people are out there, but they're taking advantage of it with getting that Baldir.
Yeah, it's going to be a favorable trade for them. Single kill for a Baldir is going to result in more gold, and look, OJC is a little bit out of position. Satan is going to be able to rotate in. In comes Alejandro. He's going to force OJC to the side. Bone is here to back him up. Nice stun coming in from Nechiko. That's going to slow him down a little bit, and they're going to go deep under the tower for that. They don't have the hook out from Bone. They don't have the grasp from Tinder, so that's going to stop that play for the moment. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Zeevil going a little deep. Senjo wants to bring him down, but Zeevil has that attack speed bonus. He's going to be able to force him away. The hook comes out, doesn't land, and down in the bottom lane, another rotation. These guys are picking targets off really fast.
Yeah, that whole bot lane engagement was set up by the Malady wall from SMD. He's definitely known for doing that. He walled off PP down in that bot lane, or PP room, to where he couldn't move. He was stuck against the wall and was just sitting there taking damage. A huge play there, but PLS is trying to counter by pushing that mid lane. They're trying to get that mid tower down.
Yeah, the clear out of Rook isn't that great at early levels, so they were able to get that tower down to about half health. Good defense there by SG. Thompson was able to bring down the tower in the bottom lane. Now dueling it out with PP. He's going to dash away and get himself out of trouble as there's a rotation in coming from Nachiko and Senjo. They're going to try make it to the other side of the map. They're just going to pick up vision and not rotate too much for that. Meanwhile, Bonus up in the top lane, solo farming. Alejandro dashing in, is going in for the play. He does get down one stun, dash away by Bone. He's going to be able to get himself out of trouble. And meanwhile, in the middle lane, huge engagement. They are going to be able to bring down Nachiko. Senjo is very, very low. Tompus is rotated in. That was just a straight-up dive under the tower.
Yeah, just overall, SG was trying to take advantage of them being kind of out of position to defend that tier 3 or that outer tower in the mid lane. And Bone had a really good play, but also a really good engagement by Alejandro in that top lane. Alejandro waited exactly for when his stun was going to go off on the bow. He he's rocket boot
huge rotation in. Alejandro gets picked off by the ultimate coming out of the Rook. Tompus comes in, helps pick up the kill. Bone's going to be the one to secure that. Meanwhile, in the jungle, a little bit of a duel. OJC and Senjo picking a fight. Nachiko coming around from the side, lands down the stun. OJC is going to be able to get away from it. Tompus coming in, and he's going to get hooked back in. OJC took a ton of damage there. SMD is there as well, but it's going to be the disengage from Surreal Gaming. Baldir is not back up yet, but they should have the heals and the out-of-combat regen to start rotating in for another play. They did pick up that tower in the mid lane, and SMD looked like he wanted to pick that fight, wanted to get himself a single target kill. Him and OGC will continue to push the mid lane. The top lane is going to be Zevo and Bun, and just back to regular lanes for Surreal Gaming. They're going to push out everything and look to rotate in for another huge play.
Yeah, overall, this is going to be a really contested fight. They both want the Baldir at this point, but there's a lot of other global objectives on the map. I think at this point, Surreal Gaming could rotate in that bot lane, give up the Baldir, and go ahead and get that outer tower in that bot lane.
It's coming in. And vulnerability out of Evil, that's going to get him to dash away. Meanwhile, Senpai, please notice me trying to make plays in the middle lane. They were able to bring that tower down and juke away from SND, so there isn't going to be a rotation there. Tompus thought he was going to come up for that fight, but it's going to have to go back to his tower, so a little bit of poke coming out from Senpai, please. They're trying to take their advantages back very slowly, and it's not a huge lead for Surreal Gaming right now, and Nachiko and Senjo looked like they wanted to rotate in. They just throw down a mine, one of the spider mines, to give them vision as they now see Surreal Gaming going for a Baldir.
Yeah, they're burrow bots. Pretty cool name for them. I just call them mines because essentially that's what they look like, right? But burrow bots, pretty interesting how they came up with that. But it looks like they're setting up for this Baldir. They're trying to lay those Ray burrow bots out and kind of bait people into that bush. That's one of those bushes where if you don't have that vision totem or the shrine behind them, you don't know where they're going to be at. So if you can kind of go in there and make them eat multiple
engagement in the middle lane. SMD lays in a huge ton of damage. Tompus is there as well. They're going to pick up that kill. But now SMD is very, very low. PB comes in doing a ton of damage. They need a little bit more to pick up SMD. The stun comes out. Nachiko is able to get it with the laser. Now OJC trying to defend off and get them to back up. Does a good bit of damage to PB. Tompus is there as well. The stun comes out of Nachiko again. Instant CC break from both of them. They don't want to get caught on that. Bowen was able to pick up a kill in the top lane, and they're going to get a tower. So even trades for both teams, it's going to wind up being a 2-for-1, so a little bit in favor of Surreal Gaming. They were to pick up 3 kills in total and get a tower as opposed to 1 kill from Senpai, please notice me. They're picking up kills, but just not fast enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to get the global gold. You want to get the kills. You want the global gold. There's so many global objectives, and as you can see, SG is actually going to be pushing for this Baldir.
Yep, they are going to get seen by the Burrow bot. That thing had a little bit of time. Nice hook in by Alejandro. That's going to lock down Zevo. Can they pick him up a little bit more damage? It is going to be the pickup by Alejandro onto Zevo. Meanwhile, Tompus dueling it out with 2. SMD comes in from the backside. He's going to get the slow down onto Senjo. They're going to be able to pick up Nachiko, and that is going to be a 3-for-1. I believe Zevo is going to be saying worth on that one.
Absolutely. To set that play up overall, they had a Zevo ended up getting hooked by Senjo, which kind of forced SG to go all in and protect him. SMD with the playmaking wall behind that completely cut off all escape routes on top of the whirlwind. He was just able to do so much CC while they're sitting there just tanking up the Harrower and the Bastion, just stun all the damage. It was just a great fight in micro from SMD in that. I think he's going to be my MVP.
So a nice tower rotation from Surreal Gaming. They're going to rotate more members into mid. PB has been off trying to get some farms, so he's trying to scale himself up. Is going with a little bit of that tank, or has that golden protector, plus the crushing mace. So doing some damage, probably has a little bit of attack speed there. What's he building that one out of, actually?
Who's that, Zevo?
Or no, Featherstone. What's he built his crushing mace out of?
He built his crushing mace out of a attack speed and a tier 2 power. So
okay,
it's a very common. It's a common crushing mace. Sometimes you'll see the double attack speed. Sometimes you'll see the all power, depending on who you build it on, whether the Rook. But Featherstone, he scales very well with power and attack speed because of his ultimate. It's very strong. You have a decent amount of attack speed plus the ramp up with his splash damage and power. It's a very good item, and it's a very awesome second item for someone like Featherstone.
Aggressive forward there by SG. Senpai, please notice me waiting in this bush. They wanted to see if they could pick a single target. They now have all of their members around. And oh, nice hook over the wall by Alejandro. That's going to be OJC going down. Perfect play there. They waited for someone to try and pick the vision, and they picked them with the hook.
Yeah, really good sneaky play there. I just really want to see Senpai please try to accomplish something off of those picks, because that's huge. They lost their main tank and their main initiator. At this point, they're going to rotate in, defend that bot tower while try to get this mid tower.
Yep, they've got 3 people here. This one will go down pretty fast. The question is are they going to be able to push in for a second one? Full rotation from Surreal Gaming. They're going to bring as many members as they can over. Rook is already there, and don't want to be greedy. It's going to be PLS backing off to pick up jungle rotation and go up for this top tower, which is about a third. So they should be able to pick that up with 1 or 2 members. There aren't any members from Surreal Gaming as they're going for Syndara. Nachiko is going to see them. It's going to be SMD dashing forward. Stun and the wall there. He's going to get the knock up. SMD trying to get close enough, and the rest of the team is still doing this. Now PPU comes in, does a ton of damage to SMD, brings him very, very low. Can any members from PLS come in? They can't. And Nachiko actually goes down, so that's going to be the kill and the Syndara. They're going to have the Krydos for the pushing. A huge play from Surreal Gaming.
Yeah, it's definitely not the end of the world. Senpai Please kind of realized when they rotated in the top part of the jungle that they were going to lose Syndara at this point. So they gave up the Syndara to tactically grab a outer top turret plus Baldir. They're just trying to get that global gold kind of even, and that definitely helped them out. If they send the Krydos down that mid lane, they could potentially do as much damage as possible, not necessarily engage and kill it while it goes onto the generator. They just got to be careful. This S&D kind of roaming around and going to attempt to get these picks so they can try to fight a 4v5 under tower.
Oh, he's got Rocket Boost, Cursed One, Runic Staff, and Shadow Veil. So he's pretty much got his core in terms of his ability to just pick a target. He has that stealth ability. He throws down the wall, walks right into a couple of those burrow bots. They're not going to hit him. He's going to be able to walk away from that. Now Krydos is here in the middle lane, pushing up. They should be able to clear out these minions and get onto the tower. Do you anticipate a dive from Surreal Gaming or just the tower?
There's definitely going to be a dive. As you can see, OJC activate his ult and went all in.
So deep. Pipiru is going to go down. That Centaur is going to need to back up. Nice laser coming out of Nachiko. Alejandro is tanking very, very well, defending. Nice hook back in by Sanjo. That's going to bring down Tompus. And it's going to be the disengage from Surreal Gaming. They got 1 tower there and lost 2. So it's going to be a... I mean, I guess it's still advantage. They did pick up 1 kill and tower, but 2 kills with all of that global gold and the shared gold every time someone goes down. That's going to, I think, bring back PLS a little bit more into this game.
No, absolutely. So I really want to say that there was nothing. You couldn't have asked for anything better. Essentially, you lost 1 member, you were able to kill Krydos, and at the same time not lose.
Oh, SMD going really, really low. Alejandro diving, and Senjo is there as well. They're turned on to OJC as SMD was able to dash away. Now the counter engage. Nice hook in by Bone. That's going to be a kill going over to him. He's been bloodthirsty this match, and a good turnaround by Surreal Gaming to pick a single target when they didn't have proper vision of the full team.
Yeah, their team comps is just kind of set up to get those 1-person picks and then follow up with an all-in engage by OJC. On the other end, there's a very good skirmish comp coming out of PLS, so hopefully PLS can kind of use that to their advantage, use those ray mines to kind of scout out some of this high ground and get some of these picks with those shank hooks.
Yep, so Surreal Gaming going to rotate into the top half of the map. I'm not sure what they're looking for at this point. Baldir, is it ready? Is it glitched?
Soon.
I think it's glitched. UI is glitched now. I don't know if they know who's got that vision. I believe it's
Senpai Please.
Okay, Senpai Please has
the vision. Yep,
I couldn't tell.
And they're allowing S&D to kind of go in and from that side flank and get those picks.
Yeah, there's the knockup. SMD does need to be careful. It's going to be a lot of damage on the center, but SMD is going to go down. OJC in the middle of the fight. Santo has been forced out, and now Alejandro taking a ton of damage from Zevil. Nice laser in by Nachiko down the middle of the fight. Pipiru is running away from Tompus. He should be able to get out of there. They've reduced a lot of his power. Meanwhile, Nachiko being chased down by Zevil. Zevil needs 1 hit, but a nice stun is going to lock them down. Now Tompus is able to pick up 1 kill. He gets Pipiru. Rook comes in. It's going to be Zevil for the double kill, picking up Alejandro, and now they're going to be pushing onto this generator.
Yeah, it was a really unfortunate fight. It seemed like Senpai Please had exactly what they needed, but the bow ultimate just wasn't there. So they're going to be able to siege with this tender ultimate and get this free generator.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge gold swing in the favor of Surreal Gaming. Although it looks like Senjo wants to pick a fight. He was running forward, but there wasn't really anybody there to back him up on that one. Vision going over in the top side of this map to Surreal Gaming, and I think they're going to go for Baldir. It is back up, and that's going to be another objective in their favor. And I think we see this a lot in Strife. If a team is coordinated properly, they're able to, take more than one objective every time they win a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the things you want to look at every time as a coordinated team is if you win a fight, what can you get out of it? If all you're getting is kills and you're not really getting objectives, and especially if you're behind, that's not a good thing. You want to get something, whether it's just even a tower. That's just so much global gold and it's going to allow you to get back into a game that you may be behind. It's going to take a lot of stalling from PLS and some good picks to kind of stall the game out to come back into this game, because the powerhouse, or not the powerhouse, but the item threshold right now from Surreal Gaming, they have a very strong item threshold with their comps.
Yep, gold advantage to Surreal Gaming by about 15,000, but SMD, he just walked into the wrong bush, got completely destroyed there, and now PLS has a chance to start coming back into the game. They need to push down these waves. The waves are actually pushing against them. Good minion manipulation by Surreal Gaming, and Ziva waiting over the side does land a huge amount of damage on him. He rocks his invulnerability, but he's gonna possibly go down for this. He's gonna get caught out. He will go down. Meanwhile, in the backline, Tom is chasing down onto PB. Needs one or two more basic attacks, one more shot. He will pick up that kill, but now he's in enemy territory. Pops his ultimate, is gonna be able to dash away. Hook misses out of Senjo, and now OGC wants to pick the fight. Santo is coming in from the side. I don't know if they want to do this. They do pick up Nachiko, but it's still a really aggressive dive. Down comes the Tinder plant, and Bone with a nice hook back on Alejandro. That's going to be the kill pickup. Turning on to Senju, Tompus has transformed again, and that's going to be Surreal Gaming going 1 for 3, which looked like it was turning in the favor of PLS.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. So Xevo specifically waited for Verm to kind of go in that top lane and start farming. As soon as he did, he realized that was the time that he could try to go all in, and that was a very well communicated play. Xevo tried to go all in, and his team immediately followed up. It did look like PLS had a very good counter engage because they caught Xevo very good. Huge bow ultimate, good stuns. The shields kept Xevo alive just a little bit to stall it out, but another good follow-up by SG, realizing that they still had some key ultimates.
Yep, that's going to be Sindara going down. SMD waiting over the side, is going to hit Nachiko with the full combo, picks up the kill, dashes away.
Just the power of the Shadow Veil Curse Swan Malady.
Now, Sanjo does get vision there, is looking for a target. SMD throws down the wall. Keep on chasing and decides that farming camp's more worth, doesn't need to chase. Bosa caught out OJC. Alejandro got a look at him, but decided he didn't want to go all in. Didn't know where the rest of the enemy team was. And now Krydos getting ready to start pushing. Should be this middle generator if Surreal Gaming can play the dive right.
Yeah, they do have potential. They have a lot of good utility on the Ray. They have a Curse Wand themselves, plus a Grimoire, which allows a lot of damage, plus that Magic Pin to kind of get through some of that tanky stats that Surreal Gaming has on their front line. Not to mention they already have a Hexbane. So if played right, I definitely think that PLS can still win this fight, although they are in a gold disadvantage.
Well, the play is about to start. The teams are pushing up. There is a burrow bot there that's going to run right at OJC. Does a little bit of damage to him. He's going to dive really deep. Pops the ultimate. In comes Tompus from the side. Nachiko taking a ton of damage. OJC being brought down by the combination of Nachiko and Santo. PP Root in the middle of that fight, but he's going to get bursted by SMD. Now Tompus and Zevo jumping into the back line. They're chasing down on Sanjo, and that is clearly going to be this generator. Will it be the game? He's the only one left up. I think the death timers are long enough, and that's going to be Surreal Gaming taking game 1 of this best of 3 in the SCS qualifiers.
Yeah, really good play from both teams. I did like the early game rotations out of Senpai Please. I feel like they had an advantage in their rotations. They were playing very good rotational wise. They were able to get some good damage on that bottom tower. They didn't exactly get the kills that they wanted, and Surreal Gaming took advantage of that with their own counter rotations. But I feel like overall, Senpai Please, they played the early game well. They just didn't capitalize on a lot of mistakes that Surreal Gaming was making.